Hi guys, welcome to your week 4 lesson for your manners class. I hope people are still finding the videos helpful and the handouts that I give. I'm really missing having everyone in class. This online stuff is a little different and something to get used to, but I do hope that everyone is getting some benefit. Don't be shy. Please post videos. Please ask me questions. I miss giving feedback. I miss all of that stuff. So I like to help you. If this is helpful enough, that's great. But if you have anything that you're concerned about or want to get better at or are struggling with, just be open to asking questions or post videos. All right. So what I want to start with tonight is your down cue for your dogs. Again, because I'm not really seeing everyone regularly, I'm sketchy on where everyone was with their downs, but what I want to talk about is how to kind of raise your criteria with the down, get away from luring a bit. Hopefully I talked about that at some point, but if not, I'm going to kind of review it now. So with your down, and I can't really demo it with Riggs because he knows down very well, but with your down, we want to have our dogs going down on a verbal cue without us having to help them with luring. The way to do that is based on how we reward. So if we are always giving our dog the cue and then not giving them time to process or time to think about what we might be looking for, and we jump right into luring them into a down and treat them anyway, it doesn't give them any reason to try harder. It doesn't give them any reason to do better. Hang on. Shiny in the background. So the way we want to increase our criteria with our down is to only offer food rewards when they do it, when you ask them, even if it takes a little bit of time for them to process it and think about it, and not consistently offer food rewards if we have to lure them down. So I'll do a bit of a demo with Riggs. Again, it won't be quite as dramatic as doing it with a class dog, but come here, buddy. Here, Riggs. So he's going to follow through likely. The command I use is flat for my dogs to lie down. Flat. Yes. Okay, so he did that pretty quickly. So I mark and reward that. If by chance, okay buddy, sit. If by chance he didn't follow through, then I would try to lure him without food in my hand, and I would repeat my verbal cue only when I lured him again. Flat. Okay, so I would do that. I didn't treat him. I just kind of gave him a little pet. Okay, good. I would do that if I've asked my dog to lie down and they don't follow through. They haven't quite got it yet. I still want to show them the position that they're going to go in, but I want those food reinforcements to be way less predictable when I've had to help. I want to give them reason to try to up the cookie train, have me pop more cookies to them. The only way I'm going to do that is if they lie down on their own. The other thing that I'll do and incorporate into my training when I'm getting away from luring is I will also give the dogs a clear signal that that's not what I'm looking for. And that looks like this. Me usually just disconnecting and walking away for a moment, and then I'll go back and retry again. Again, a demo with Riggs won't be quite as dramatic as a class demo might be, but I'll just show you quickly what that might look like. Here, buddy. He'll be confused as to why I disconnected him, because he'll probably lie down. Good boy. Flat. Good boy. So if perhaps he didn't lie flat when I asked him to, I might just disconnect for a moment, then step back. Okay, bye. And flat. Ask him again. Yes. And reward him when he does it. Okay, bud. I used that turn away and disconnect method a lot when I was teaching him to lie down. I did a lure and reward method for first couple training sessions. I didn't actually do a lot of luring without food for him. I just made it very clear to him that he needed to try something else to get a reinforcement. So I would just turn and disconnect from him and walk away just for like a second or two, come right back, and then give him opportunity to work and try again. Okay, bud. And what we like, or at least what I as a trainer really like for dogs to become, is a thinking dog. A dog that isn't always waiting for me to show them, but for them to experiment a little bit and go like, oh, is it sit just a little more? Is it lay down? What is it? So, and again, remember that behaviors that are reinforced will be repeated. So when your dog experiments and you start rewarding certain things that they do, they're going to offer those behaviors more often. So I do really like to incorporate that a bit in my training. And you get a dog that just offers to lie down on their own. Yes, good boy, buddy. It's a very appropriate time for you to lie down. So yeah, that's your down. Increase your criteria with that. If you are one of those handlers that already has a dog that lies down very well without a lot of extra help, you still want to work on raising your criteria and keeping it clear to your dog that you like them on their toes. So how I raise my criteria once that behavior is already taught is I will only offer food rewards to the fastest responses to my verbal cue. And anything that's a little bit slower, I will just kind of ignore or ask them to try again. All right, so the next exercise I'm going to share with you is an addition to your attention exercises that we have done, which the original attention exercise we do is a name call attention, where we call the dog's name. We reward them for making eye contact. This is also an eye contact exercise, but there's no name calling involved. What we're going to do is we're going to show them something they want, like a food treat. I will incorporate toys into this exercise pretty quickly too, if my dog likes toys, but I first teach it with food. So we're going to show the food, and then you're going to hold it kind of off to the side, hold it away from your body. And what will happen in a dog that does not know this exercise is they will stare at the food, they might bark, jump, whine, offer you a few different, maybe a sit down, something. They'll be a little bit frustrated that you're not feeding them for staring at the food. That's what we want. We want them to figure out what doesn't work, so that when they get a little frustrated and they check in with us instead, yes, that's what we want to reward. Yeah, good boy. We want to reward them when they've taken their eye off the food and given us some quiet attention. This is a delightful exercise for teaching some impulse control to our dogs. Dogs tend to want what they want when they want it, and they want it now. If they don't get it now, they're going to bark at you, paw at you, whine, nudge, jump, all the things. So this is a really, really good one. Hardest part I find for this exercise is for handlers to be quiet. Handlers not to prompt, no smooching, nothing like that. Wait your dog out. Let them figure out what doesn't work. When they are frustrated and they look at you, mark with your yes word and reward. So I'll show you with Riggs what it looks like when it's trained, because he already knows this exercise. So I'll show him my food. Now, you won't necessarily be able to appreciate him looking direct into my eyes, but yes. Okay, so he's pretty quick to come back. Sorry, bud. To come back and look at me, because he knows this very well, but it didn't start out this way. Trust me, there was a lot of work involved. Yes. I had to wait quite a bit for him. He would stare and stare and stare. He's a pushy dog, so he would stare at what he wanted. But yeah, he's great at it. Yes, he's great at it now. And I use it all the time. Any new location, anytime I want to just gain a little focus on him. He's not great at this exercise yet in distractions, so if there's a lot going on in the environment around him, he can definitely have trouble focusing on that, but he's just an 8-month-old puppy, so that does definitely take some time, but we practice lots, yes, in areas where he can have success, like at home, in my yard, quiet times on our walks where it's not too busy, which is kind of always now, because there's nobody out in the world. Distraction training, once life goes back to normal, will be interesting for all of us, me included. Yes. Okay, so he was a little, he kind of did back and forth a couple times. So the first time he looked, he didn't really engage with my eyes. He kind of looked in my direction, but he didn't make direct eye contact, so I waited for direct eye contact. Yes, and when I get a bit more connected eye contact, I feed that. Yes, good boy. Okay, so practice that with your dogs. Okay, bud. That's a good boy, baby. So practice that one with your dogs. It's one that I incorporate into lots of other things later on. If you carry on with me and do an advanced class, which by the time you guys are ready for it, we might be back into doing group training again. But yeah, it's impulse control attention. It's a really great one for teaching dogs that when they want something, no matter what it is, they look at you to get permission to do that. So I'm the type of girl that I've always lived with busy working dogs, dogs that like to think for themselves and work a lot and keep busy. So I don't like my dogs to push me around. I don't want them to tell me when they want out. I don't want them to tell me when they want food or toys or play. It's up to me to figure that out and to direct them and lead them through that path of their day. So even if my dog's, like for instance, if this little guy, if he wanted out, he'd go sit by my door here. He'd look at me, look at the door. That's what all my dogs have always done. I'm not one to encourage dogs to paw at the door, bark, anything like that. It's I need to pay attention. So yeah, so that's your impulse control attention. I love that one. Next, let's work on a sit stay. So I'll do a little demo with my dog. I want to just talk to you about the nuts and bolts of your sit stay a little bit, my recommendations and things that pitfalls that people can sometimes fall into with the stay. So 3 things that you want to think about with your stay: duration, distance, and distraction. So we're not adding too much distraction yet. You're really wanting to get just some clarification from the dog's perspective, that they really understand the exercise, that they'll hold it for a set amount of time until you as the handler tell them they're done, and you build on a bit of distance. Please trust me when I say don't go for your distance too quickly. Get some consistency with about a 4 to 6 foot distance for you as a handler, and a good chunk of time. So at least 30 to 45 seconds, even more if you can. As you build on your duration with your stay exercise, this does not mean we're just delivering more food. No, that's not how it works. We don't want to just keep going and feeding our dog to keep them there. That is not at all the idea. As we build on the duration, we want to increase the time in between rewards. So as simple math, I use, if we were doing a stay for 20 seconds and we're rewarding approximately every 5 seconds, we're going to give 4 rewards. If we add another 5 seconds to our stay, does not mean we add the 5th reward. It means we spread our time out between those 4 rewards. We just add a couple seconds in between. So we're still just giving those 4 rewards over 25 seconds instead of 20. That's just an example for easy math. That's the idea. You want to extend the time in between your rewards. So I'll demo with my puppy. He's pretty good on his stays. Having said that, I've just recently introduced him to the verbal command stay. I tend to use the word wait a lot. So for me, stay and wait are a little different for my dogs. That was weird. I said that for my dogs. Wait for me means that I will release you from away. So I use that a lot for agility or for recall. Stay means you stay until I get back to you. So because Riggs is primarily going to be an agility dog, that's mostly what his foundation work is. I've done a lot of wait with him and releasing him to me from afar, long distances. So stay is relatively new. I've just sort of been working on that for the last couple of weeks. Here, buddy. With most things, I usually will start in heel position. Come here, bud. Riggs heel. I'm going to do this on a little bit of an angle so you don't have to stare at my rear end when I do it. Here, bud. Riggs heel. Okay, so I can't get too terribly far away from him because I don't have a lot of space in here that I'm working with. But that's okay. Really, I want to work mostly on my duration anyhow. Stay. Yes. Go back to your dog, reward, repeat your stay. Yes. Oops, sorry, buddy. Sorry, bud. Yes. Stay. Stay. My bad entirely as a handler. I still didn't want him to get it. Stay. Good boy. Good job. I always save one treat for the very end. When I come back to my dog, I treat them. Okay, bud. And I tell them that they can move. I always use a verbal release like okay. I tend to do a bit of a physical movement as well, just to encourage my dogs to move along and out of position. So yeah, that's your stays. Again, it's not a really great demo when I'm using my dog that mostly knows how to stay anyhow. But like I said, the stay cue is actually new for him. The way I'm doing it is a little bit different than what he's been used to right from babyhood. So yeah, there's always something to learn. So remember, try not to go too far until you get some consistency. If you feel like your dog really understands the stay, if they're holding that position for a good duration and they wait until you tell them that they can move, you have permission to take another step away. I really urge you not to do it too soon because it's just such a slippery slope. If they don't understand it fully and they're breaking their stay before you're telling them they're finished and you go further away, it just gives you less control, it makes your timing worse. It's all bad. So yeah, stay consistent with your distance and continue to increase your duration a bit. Remember, does not mean that you just give more treats. You are extending the time in between rewards. Couple things. Number one, say stay like you mean it. It's not a question. If you say stay or stay, there's question in that tone. You don't have to yell at your dog, you don't have to scream, but say it with a period. Stay. Very matter of fact, but there's no question. If you question it, your dog will too. I often say that stay is a fake it till you make it exercise. Confident, trust that your dog will stay, and say it like that. Stay. You mean it. I think that makes a difference. Any good dog trainer will tell you it is not what you say, but it is how you say it. So definitely say it with purpose. Don't scare your dog, but don't question it in your voice. So pay attention as a handler this week to how you say that word stay. Make sure that you mean it. Make sure you go to the dog to offer reward. There was something else. Oh yeah. If you're out there and your dog is thinking about moving, so they kind of twitch or they they move a little bit, they attempt to move or shift position, a lot of handlers will panic in that moment and they'll be like, oh, stay, and they'll go right in and treat them. No, don't do that. If you do anything, if you think your dog is thinking about moving, if they twitch or they attempt to move out of position in any way, excuse me, I do not have COVID. If they attempt to get out of position in any way, walk into their space like you would as if they moved, but don't treat them or anything like that. But doing that walk into your dog to replace them if they move, that becomes a verbal cue or a body language cue that you can use from a distance as you increase your distance with your stay and they're thinking about moving. You just you can just step right in, and even if you're 6 feet away, this forward motion from you as a handler is an indication to your dog that you're going to come in and follow through if they move. So they best hold position if they'd like any more of the cookies out of your pocket. So say stay like you mean it. Follow through. If your dog moves, go back to them. Touch them by their collar and physically put them back into position. Do not be rough. Just be persistent. Say stay like you mean it. Increase the time in between your rewards. And if your dog's thinking about moving or they twitch or like I said, thinking about moving, step into them, offer a bit of a verbal correction, remind them they should hold position, but do not give food in that moment. I almost said any questions, but it's just me here. Anyhow, all right, I'm going to kind of take you forward with your heel position a little bit with your dogs. Oh, what I want to mention before I forget at the end of this video, send me some videos, please. I'd love to see what your downs look like, your sit stays, your heel position, and I'd love to see what you guys are working on with your mats. If you're teaching your dog to lie down on a visual target, what that kind of looks like. I'm going to talk about that after I do heel position with you guys anyway. Riggs, bud. Come here, buddy. Come on, bud. So, heel position, the way I like to progress with that exercise a little bit, again, I just do it really one step at a time. And as you can see, when I work at home or with my own dogs, I rarely use a leash. The leash is only in class just for control, to keep them from going to chat to the other dogs. But yeah, I do all my training off leash. Come here, bud. So for heel position, what we're going to do, we're going to ask a little bit more of our dogs, raise our criteria a bit. Only do this if you are having success already with the heel position, which heel position is complicated for me to teach it online. I really hope that people are having success. I would love to see video proof of what you're doing so I can feel confident in that for you guys and offer you some advice if need be. So I'm going to bring my dog into heel position beside me, and then I'm actually going to get a little bit more attention from them. So once he gets to heel position, I'm not going to treat him. I'm going to wait for a bit of eye contact, and then I will offer him a reward. Then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take one step at a time and encourage my dog to follow. So I'll show you what that looks like. You can still use a food lure if you need to get your dog into position, which you probably do. I don't with Riggs, but I'm going to use one anyway. Riggs heel. Okay, I bring my food right to my belly button once I increase my criteria and I'm asking for a bit more from my dog. Yes, so he gave me eye contact. I'm going to treat that. Good boy. As I begin to move with my dog, he's going to stay there. I'm going to step away with my right leg. I'm going to prepare to bring my dog with me. Food to his nose, Riggs heel. Yes. It's literally just one step at a time. Yes. So it took me a long time to reward that second time. Okay, but because he was actually staring at the food in my hand. He wasn't staring at my eyes, so I had to wait for that. So I'll show you that. I'll do a couple repetitions. Again, I don't have a ton of space, so I have to be a bit creative. Riggs heel. Okay, I'm waiting for eye contact. Yes. Okay, I step away with my right. Food to my dog's nose. Move my left, move my dog. Riggs heel. Yes. Good boy. Okay, good job, buddy. That's a good boy. Oh, I did that. I did that. Good puppy. Yeah, you give me that big toy. Wow. What are you doing? You need one more for them. Yeah, we'll do one more. Good boy. If you're ready to bring your dog into position without a food lure, you can do that. So I've got my food now in my right hand to transfer after. Riggs heel. And bring them right around. Still wait for eye contact. Yes. Good boy. Step away. Riggs heel. Yes. Good job. Okay, buddy. Do a touch. Do a touch. Hey. Good job. Good job. Yeah, so that's your heel position, how you progress with it. It does seem slow, and it is. Heel is hard. Heel position is hard to teach dogs. It's very specific, and it's kind of a fine-tuned behavior. So, and you want them to know that this is the reward position right here, and you really just do one step at a time. That is your heel position. Your mat target. So, couple things to work on with your mat target. don't know. I could do a little demo with him, but again, he does know it pretty well. So 2 things to work on. I don't know where everyone is at with that behavior, but the very first ground level thing that you want your dog to understand, to go to a visual target, like a mat or a dog bed. Once they know that they go there for a cookie and that's like a little trick or a little thing that they do to get a treat, it's time to raise your criteria to either they sit or lie down. Long term, you ideally want to have them lie down. So once they are doing that, couple things you want to work on. You want to work on your down stays on that mat. Okay, you want your dog to get used to holding position on that mat. It's a spot where they stay. That way, when you change the environment, you can take your mat or your dog bed, and they should still understand what's expected of them when that is present. The other thing that you can work on, which is something maybe I'll work with Riggs in a demo, because it's something I haven't worked on with him. The other criteria to work on is how far away you're sending the dog to the mat. So don't go too far too fast with this one. Continue to stay pretty close with your dog so that they understand that they go to the mat and lie down for a reward. And as they're getting good at that, then you can just start stepping away just a little bit further. Because what happens is we and dogs become comfortable in a certain pattern, and they'll just pattern that they have to go so far and lie down. So you do want to kind of change that up a bit. And I know my dog is terrible at it. I did it for a video for my puppy class for week 4, and he's not that great at it. So we need a bit of work. Watch out. Watch out. So what I'm going to do with him, so I'm going to use a dog bed because this is basically a big mat that I'm working on. What I'll do with him is I'll reward him a couple times just for going to it lying down. And then I will try to get a bit further away from him and see how that works. Come here, bud. Good job. Good boy, Riggs. Go to your place. Go to your place. Yes. Okay, so he does know it on a verbal now. He's known that for, I guess, for a little bit. Yes, good boy. Okay, bud. Good puppy. Place. So this is where I struggled with the video I did for my puppy class. He's starting to lie down, not really on the mat. Okay, bud, come here. Because lie down is a default behavior he's rewarded for lots anyways, so he knows that I'm pretty happy with him when he lays down anywhere. But what I'm wanting him to learn in this moment is that it's actually, when I use that verbal, that is different, that I want him to go all the way to that visual target. So we'll play with that a bit. Good boy, bud. No, let's try again. So that time he just had his bum on it. That's not quite it. Place. Yes, good boy. I'm going to actually jackpot him, so I'm going to give him 2 treats for doing that. Okay, bub. Good boy. Place. Uh-oh. Try again. Try again. Yes, good boy. So, again, just to make the difference for him, I don't want him to think that the word place means he just drops and lies down. I want him looking for a visual target when I say that word. It's different than flat. I want him looking for a visual target that he's supposed to go and hold a down position on, just like this. Yay! Okay, buddy. Ready, 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 ready. Are you? Go place. Uh-oh. Whew. What? Try again. Go place. Yes, good boy. So that's very clearly different for him. Again, something that we still need to work on. I have spent very little time on this with him. Okay, buddy, let's try again. Ready, ready, ready. Place. Yes. Little bit of a slippery slope. Just his bum is on that. I think his exuberance kind of pushed the bed out of the way a bit, so I accepted it this time. Okay, buddy, come here. Come here, buddy. Sit. Stay. Okay, bud. Okay, come on. Ready, ready, ready. Good job. Place. Yes, good. So that one was really good. And I moved a little further away. So I was kind of back in the corner a bit more and not really, like, I think Before I was probably standing about here, and then I took kind of a big step back, so I'm increasing my distance a little bit, but I'm being clear with my dog about what I want. I want him mostly on that bed, not half on, half off. Okay, Joe's, or not Joe's, sorry, Joe's. Okay, Riggs, come on, buddy. So I'm just gonna break it up for him for a minute. You were a good boy. That was pretty fun. That's a good old job. Give. That's a good boy. Ready? Rigmarole. Go place. Not quite. Too bad. Come on. Okay, so that tends to be my biggest go-to when I'm communicating with my dog that that's not what I'm looking for or I need more, is I just disconnect from them. Come on, let's try it again. Ready, sit. Riggs, place. Yes, good boy. That's a good puppy. So that was a really good little training session for him. Stay. Good. Really good training session for him, making it clear that I like it best when he's on the bed with most of his body, not just a bit of it. And the way I made that clear was I would disconnect and walk away when he didn't get it quite right. I didn't punish him. I didn't make a big deal about it. He just got no reaction from me. Whereas when he did it what I was looking for, he got much more. Stay. He got much more of a reaction from me. And now, after I've done some repetition of practicing going to the mat and me increasing my distance away and sending him to the mat, now I'm working on the stay part. So that would tend to be what I would do in a training session, is I would work my sending to the mat a bit, increase my distance, make it clear to my dog I like it best when their whole body's on it, when they're lying down. And then after I did some repetitions with that, I would work on my stay. Yes, stay. And that concludes all the things that I have for you guys tonight. I think I managed to do it in just one video. If I go over time, my tablet will stop and start again. So yeah, I think we got just one video tonight. Please send me some videos of your work. Please send me some questions. I hope everyone is staying safe and working hard with the dogs, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. We will see you. You will see me in a video next week. Hopefully I'll hear from you before then. Thanks guys. Night night.